What's going on, world? What's going on? It's your main man, the author. Right back at that ass again. Here's another one. What's going on, y'all? I just want to make this a brief video, man. This video will probably be entitled "Men Who Underestimate Women" or "Men Who Look at Women as Just Pussy" are underestimating a very powerful foe, man. I repeat, men who underestimate uh, women or men who look at women as just pussy are underestimating a very powerful foe, man. And here's the thing, man. I made this other video similar to this video. It's about men who chase women. They're not alpha males, and I was talking about growing up as a kid and what it meant to be a man. And the same thing too, man. Even when I transitioned from boy to adolescent, to my teenage years, uh, to my younger, early 20s. You tell your friends, we're gonna go out. Now once you transition from boy to your teenage years, your early 20s, your teens. Now you can hit the club. Oh yeah, man, we're gonna go out and get some pussy. You know, again in that rat race. Sleeping with women, trying to define your manhood. You know, and I'm not saying I didn't sleep with women that I really like, but you know why does every time I go to club, it's about trying to get some pussy, right? So so you go there, man, and you think about that. Now 9 times out of 10, a lot of us who planned on getting with a woman didn't get. Not only did we not get any women, but if you were lucky enough to get a number, a lot of times you'll call, it's the wrong number. Or better yet, you'll call and sometimes you'll get the chick, she'll call, she'll talk to you, but sometimes she'll have a bad attitude, right? So my point is, man, a lot of guys who just look at females as just pussy, you're underestimating the powerful foe, man. I was reading this book as well. This book I read a few years ago. It was a book by, I think, Chinua Achebe was the author. The Anatomy of Female Power, and he's just talking about the power of the pussy, man. Pretty much. You guys should look that up. I think it's free for free on the net. The U.S. banned the book. Uh, Again, I think the author is Chinua Achebe. Don't ask me how to spell it, but if you type in the Anatomy of Female Power, that should pop up. I did a video about that book about 3 years ago. One of my first videos that I ever posted on YouTube, and it has a lot of good points, man. Uh, and the guy who wrote the book, he's a graduate from the University of Buffalo, PhD professor, African guy, but it has a lot of good points, man. And it just reminds me too of as a boy. A lot of times, most of us grow up thinking that we're gonna grow up and become kings, and we'll have beautiful women at our beckon, at our every beck and every call. We'll have beautiful women waiting on us, hand and foot, and we're kings, and that we'll have money, things of that nature. All right, and you have all these dreams as a boy, but for the most part, what usually happens? Best case scenario, you get married, right? But that's what Chinua was talking about is nest slavery, which he has some points, man. So in that case, actually the reverse is in the play. So you, as a boy, you thought that you'd be king. In nest slavery, the man is supposed to be at the head of the household, but really is what? The woman is calling all the shots, right? especially if you got married post the feminist era, or even in the 60s and the 50s as well, right? So in a lot of cases, you're not the head of the house. She's calling all the shots. She spends all the money. You're the least important thing in the house. You have a few kids. She's not as pretty as you would have hoped that your wife would have been when you were a kid, right? You have some kids. You wait on them hand and foot. If they're females, forget about it. You're pretty much the slave of the household, right? You're a slave to your wife and your daughters. If you're lucky enough to grow old and die, or she may, worst case scenario, she may take you to the cleaners and divorce you and then take the kids. Nowadays, I think about 70% of marriages in the U.S. end in divorce. End in divorce, right? Now, that's if you get married. A lot of times if you're from the inner city, what's the average scenario? You're black from the inner city, might not even get married as a young black male. You might just have 4 baby mamas, all of them taking you to court for child support, right? You're paying for kids that you never even see, or that you rarely see, right? If she hasn't moved out of state on your ass, maybe you might not see the kid at all, right? Not because you don't want to, but because she moved, or whatever that case. Again, she's not as pretty as you thought your wife would be when you were a boy, right? She's not nearly as obedient. Matter of fact, she tells you what to do in most cases, right? You know? So it's the total opposite. As boys, what we picture as men, well, as boys, when we picture our lives as men, most of us have a totally different picture, right? We picture ourselves. Now, we don't hold on to our fantasy as strong as young females who think they'll be princesses, but a lot of men will say, okay, well, at least if I can't have this, I'll take this. A lot of times we don't get our first, second, or third choice, right? Even if she ain't pretty, if she could just, because the older you get, the lower your expectations as a man. It goes from, when I'm a boy, I think, well, if I grow to be a man, I'll have all these pretty females waiting on me hand and foot. All right, then you get older. Okay, well, I'll just take one pretty woman waiting on me hand and foot. Now I get a little bit older, pussy ain't got no face, right? That means I'm lucky to get any female, right? Then you get married. Oh, well, hopefully she won't take me to court and try to get more money out of me, right? So I won't have to be a mule my whole life. So as boys growing up to be men, our expectations get smaller and smaller and smaller, while females supposedly refuse to settle, no matter how unattractive or unsanitary they may get, right? So my point is, and he mentions this in his book too, females on average mature faster than guys. They said females reach their, excuse me, full maturity level at 15 in terms of maturity, right? Even the dumbest female reaches her full maturity at 15, while males on average don't reach their full mental maturity until 60, right? Because how many guys can remember as boys where when a girl liked you, she came after you and chased after you before you even knew what sex was? I remember being in a few images when I was 4 or 5, how I had girls come, try to walk up to me and lay down next to me. And when I moved away from them, they'd move again and lay next to me again. The more I moved, the more they moved towards me, right? And they were all, and I was 5'6". I didn't even really realize what sex and relationships were. I got busted back when I was, I think, 4. A female kissed me in the mouth and told me to kiss her, and she grabbed me and told me to grab her. And then when we got caught, she blamed everything on me. We were like 4 or 5 years old, and they called our parents in. And I didn't know what the fuck she told me where to grab. I didn't know what she was talking about. I had never kissed a female before. And I remember this. Some people can't remember when they're 4 and 5. I have a great long-term memory. Not a great short-term, but a great long-term memory. And I remember we got caught. She kissed me in the mouth. We were supposed to be laying down asleep. And she kissed me in my mouth. Tongue kissed me. And told me to grab her ass. She grabbed mine. Then when we got caught, she blamed it all on me. Right? So they mature faster than we do. So a lot of times, my point is, a lot of times when guys think they're gaming females in terms of I'm asleep with her, or I'm talking to her, I'm talking to her, I'm talking to her. You got 4 or 5 females in your phone thinking you're gaming them, right? Oh, I'm talking to all these hoes, right? And you trying to impress your friends. Oh, look at this, look at her ass. She sent me this naked pic, so on and so forth. Usually, how does that end? You know, she's trying to game you to pull you in so you can have a kid so she could be in your pockets for the next 18 years, maybe even longer. Maybe be in your pockets for a kid that ain't even yours. So she's thinking about gaming you on a much deeper level. So when we just look at females as just pussy, you are overlooking a whole nother dynamic. A soul, a spirit, the ideology, a mentality that may be even more mature than yours. And that's why a lot of these cases and then at the same token, especially if you live in the US, the courts are going to be on her side. So the system favors her. So you're underestimating someone who has the system on their side. They're more mature than you, or they mature faster than you, right? That's why a lot of females people talk about the R. Kelly shit, but a lot of females tend to get with older men anyway. And how do you keep young, sexy females away from older, more established men? How are you going to keep rich, powerful men away from the sexiest women? It's not going to happen. It's been like that since the beginning of time. The powerful men are always going to have their pick of the litter in terms of what women they want to sleep with. They're going to always have the pick of the finest, most attractive women. R. Kelly being a powerful man, being rich, right? Anyway, but not to get on that topic, my point is men who underestimate the power of the pussy, man, they underestimate the power of women in general, not really identifying the whole element there. This is because before it's pussy, it's a woman. Before it's a woman, it's a human. All right? It's a human being right there that matures on average faster than you. Not meaning that doesn't mean that all females are smart or that they're not dumb females out there. There's a lot of dumb chicks out there. But at the same time, with them maturing faster than us, their plots are going to be a bit more in-depth involved. I mean, I done seen some of the most stupidest buck-tooth bitches out there get men caught up, powerful men caught up, men who had twice their accomplishments. You know, how can a female with 4 or 5 baby daddies a damn ninth, 10th grade dropout end up having one of the baby's dads is a naval officer. That's a lieutenant commander that she's getting money. I mean that shouldn't happen. Those two paths should have never crossed. A baby mama that's a ninth grade dropout shouldn't even meet a lieutenant commander. But it happens, right? That's more likely to happen than a female lieutenant commander ending up with some dude off the street. Because especially if she a black lieutenant commander female, she probably gonna end up with some white dude, right? But my point being is, when men underestimate females, man, you're putting yourself in a really bad situation, and usually the situation ends in the favor of that female. And guys have to understand, you got to stop fooling yourselves, thinking that you're gonna have your pick of the litter in terms of getting the finest females, and you don't have a solid foundation. You don't have, and you're not the type of man who wants power. You're not the type of man who wants economic, social, and political power. But you think that you're gonna have the finest females because you got that game, that pimp stuff, man. That's not gonna work, bro. I'm telling you that right now. Now you will have now females. If you were in charge and your female sees that another racial group is about to surpass you, and she sees that you're down temporarily, she may be willing to whore herself out or do whatever she can to make sure you're on top, because she knows that a woman in her right mind knows that without the man, there's no her. Without the yin, there's no yang, right? So she'll do whatever to keep you on top. But if you think that you're just gonna be on the bottom and you're just gonna be able to go your whole life pimping a female, and that female realizes that, hey, this man is never gonna be on top, she's not gonna go for that, man. Sooner or later, you're gonna be the one that gets conquered, and that's what has happened in the black community. That's why these females want the guy to live in the house. Just like this one guy I used to know, man. I did the poetry with. He used to brag about how you know he drove a truck that wasn't his, that was his wife's. He that house wasn't his, that was his wife's. He was the big pimp. And as soon as she got tired of his ass, she told him he had to stop. Within a couple months, I guess the word got around and he was talking shit. In a couple months, she stopped him from using her car. So I used to have to give him rides. And he ended up getting his own car. It wasn't even as nice as mine. And when things got really bad, she threw him out and changed the locks on his ass. So a lot of times, too, females want you to believe that you're in the driver's seat. That way you don't try to go ahead and attain more than them, because they can still use you as their slave. But in all actuality, especially beta females, they love to have another weaker male live with them and have him think that he's in charge, because she knows whenever she wants, she could pull a string and the floor will open up and he will fall right in her trap. She could just rattle his whole world whenever she wants. The weaker females out there today, especially the black females in the black community, they're mostly all beta females, and they love to have. That's why they love to have these thugs and these guys who are on probation, living with them, because they know ultimately that they have all the control, man. And in most cases, the the economy is more favorable to hire females than they are black men. They're more prone to hire black females than black men. Why is that? Because they want to keep that instability in the black community. Because if they keep all the jobs in the hands of the black females, then no black men will be able to run these households. If the black man can't run the household, he can't run his what? Community, which means the race can't compete against other races. Hello. All right. So be sure to like, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments below. Y'all be safe.